Hello, everyone. This is Chelcy. I'm here with Bounded Peace, along with my husband, Brandon. Today, we have a very, very, very special and somewhat sensitive topic today. And we're going to be talking about our trip to our first official, not our first marriage counseling session, but the first one that was, I guess you would say, helpful. Previously, before we met with this lady, our counselor, a marriage counselor, we tried doing it once before, a year ago, 2 years ago, and that was unsuccessful. Not on our end, but we just weren't a good match for her. And it is what it is. So when was our appointment? 2 weeks ago now. It'll be 2 weeks next Tuesday. Today is Friday the 22nd, so it'll be 2 weeks, whatever date Tuesday is. I want to talk about this because, as you know, I believe in therapy. I believe in counseling. I believe in reaching out and getting help, especially in areas that you're unfamiliar with. We've never been married before. This is our first marriage. We married young, so it's extremely beneficial that we seek out professional help, whether we're having issues or whether we're not. In this case, we decided that was the best option for us for various reasons. And I would like to add, while I'm here on this topic, I go to individual therapy. Brandon does not, but he does marriage counseling with me. And I'm just going to jump right into it. So I noticed Brandon's demeanor as we were going to marriage counseling, and I asked, what was going on? Why, because I observe him all the time. That's my husband. Like, I love him so much, and I'm an observer. So I naturally am going to observe him and be super, particular and super inquisitive on his body language and all the things that he has going on. And come to find out, he was super nervous about it. And me having been in therapy for years, it was kind of second nature to me. I was excited. I was, eager to, have a confidant, you know what I mean? In a safe space. That's what it felt like to me. But I want to let you share a little bit, share your feelings, how you felt, going in, which was, guys, it was a little shock to me. It wasn't a surprise. I expect that, but it also, I guess it shocked me because me being in therapy for years, from my perspective, I know that it was going to be a safe space. And I know that, for me, for the most part, therapy has been a safe space. So again, I'm going to let you chime in on a little bit about, how you felt going in, that you shared with me afterwards that I didn't know, or at least I was trying to figure out what it was. So I'm going to let you hand the mic over.
Okay, so just to follow up on everything you were just saying, first of all, that was our first counseling in person. Prior to that, it was over video chat, and I feel like the counselor may have been, I would say, overwhelmed by us, or just not aligned, and yeah. So this is the first counselor, and so this time around, me not having the experience that my wife has, I was automatically like a nervous wreck. I didn't know what was gonna come, like what the outcome was gonna be, But I was actually very happy with the outcome, and I just felt like this go around, we had a therapist who was in alignment with us, who was on a frequency that we needed. Someone that we could actually understand and relate to in a sense, or just we could comprehend each other better, you know, and it felt more hands on, and that it was just helpful, you know. It 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 gave me a great feeling of hope and progress and just growth in many ways. It keeps looking like you.
That's so good. I totally agree. And I want to speak on the first one because it's it's so important. A lot of people, you'll see memes and you see people, make jokes about how therapy doesn't work and oh, you're paying this amount of money just to hear somebody say shake their head in agreement or ask you how you feel about that. It is not that experience at all in the real world, at least from my experience. I will say that that's not the case for everybody. I believe that you got to go through, you know what I'm saying, to get through, to find that therapist. But thankfully, it didn't take us, 5 or even more than 2 times to find out one that aligned with us. So the first marriage counselor or therapist, she had an approach of basically it's just life. Like it was extremely triggering for me because as I grew up or growing up, and I speak a lot about this, I would come to the guardians in my life or the people around me in my life, and I would try to express my sadness and the feelings associated with that. I would try to express it to them and they would just say, pray about it or talk to the pastor, basically brush it off. And I felt I was pretty much giving that energy from her, like, hey, you're an adult now, get over it. That's life. Now what? Look me in the face, looking at me for a solution. I'm coming to you as a professional. You know what I'm saying? But this experience this time around, I know Brandon agrees, as he's spoken about it before. It was so much different. It was, and now that I'm thinking about it, I completely forgot about, how you could be nervous because of that. And also, amongst other things. So this time around, it clicked. Something definitely clicked. We're going to go into details. This is probably going to be like a whole series within itself regarding just communication in relationships and how communication or the lack thereof can make or break any type of relationship, not just long partners, spouses, any type of relationship, parent and child, teacher and student. I mean, it doesn't matter. And that's why it's important that we talk about this. Communication is not just about talking, because the things that you're speaking may be triggering to the other, or the things or your language may be misconstrued. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just about talking, and it's not just about saying words, because sometimes those words aren't comprehended or perceived in the proper manner. A lot of times, especially with me, I have, because of my history and because of the things that I used to go through, my perception on people's words and, different situations, they were, I don't want to say flaw, but it was definitely,
just having a pre-assumption because of the traumatic experiences coming up and feeling misunderstood from the perspective that she verbalized to me. And that's why approach is everything, and voice tone and demeanor and details and elaborating what you're actually, what I'm saying, and, just taking the time out to be understood on both ends.
And so you can imagine how it has been difficult for Brandon to come to me about things, especially dealing with conflict. Because me, up until him, I didn't deal with conflict. I ran, like I avoided it. I did whatever it was that I felt was necessary to just de-escalate immediately. And a lot of those times, me immediately trying to de-escalate the situation, I'm cutting off my feelings, I'm cutting off my emotions, and they're not being heard. So it's that's a reason why, the therapist that we talked to, it just clicked. She said one thing that just made it all click.
And so, yeah, that basically sums it up when it comes to just me feeling like, damn, I can't really come to her about anything, especially if it's too touchy, or it's a topic that's, just could possibly be triggering. Even the possibility became scary, and the first counselor was basically like, this is life, this is adulthood, you know what I'm saying? And you just got to get through it and things like that, which never gave an actual solution to the problem, And this go around with our new counselor, we actually were able to receive one, and it sounded healthy.
A lot of times we get into relationships and we want our partners to curve to our triggers, curve to the things that we don't like. Basically playing Neo in the Matrix, trying to get to a point, or just to kind of match our comfortability. And we recognize that it's damn near impossible, especially when you go through such severe trauma. And I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And I know there have been plenty of events that have projected my PTSD and, confirming my diagnosis. So I just want to, put out there, I'm so appreciative of my husband for even facing his fears and, going to counseling with me and doing really anything and everything to work with me. We're workers. We're extremely we're so ambitious about our relationship and our family, like over anything. We put the strength and the health and the mental health of our family above all, to the point where we've sacrificed certain recreational activities. Just all different types of things we've sacrificed just to, make sure that we have a strong foundation and base regarding communication and all these things. And I want to share now. It seems so simple, but when you're people like us and you try hard, sometimes trying hard is not the best solution. You have to work smarter and not harder. And I know I know it's so cliche and it's easier said than done. Yes, it's easier said than done. And I'm the type of person where, for some reason, my whole life, it seemed as though I was always trying to take the hard path, always taking the hard way out, unintentionally. Of course, I'm not intentionally trying to make life harder, but when it's all it ends up happening. And I want to share that right now, and I'm going to let Brandon speak briefly after I share this. So we realized that talking wasn't doing anything good for us. We would come, after we had an issue, and we would try to talk, and it was like we were speaking two different languages.
So, allow me to break this down. The solution we were given, to sum this up, is anything too triggering or touchy, we should not be talking about it verbally in general. And the reason is, not only were there so many blockages, maybe because of us, or maybe because of things that happened prior to us meeting each other. At the end of the day, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of blockages. There's a lot of triggers from traumatic experiences. There's a lot of feeling like I may not be understood automatically. There's a lot of misinterpretation because of I said something a certain way, so I think you meant this, but not understanding intention behind what you're saying. Because even though you might have meant one thing, the approach was off, or maybe a little too aggressive, or maybe the wording triggered something from the past. Whatever it is, it never helped with comprehending each other, you know. And so the counselor basically told us, try writing letters. Why that's so helpful? Because it gives you time to sit down and think. You don't have to think on your feet. You're not forced to have a response. You don't get misunderstood because your demeanor is off, or you said something a certain way, or your wording was messed up. You know, your voice tone was off. Demeanor. You know.
So we're sharing this valuable information so you don't have to go to therapy. No, I'm kidding. No, we do recommend, if you can, not everybody is privileged, to afford these types of services. I know for a fact that through Medicaid, you can get these types of resources. So that's if you can't afford it. I'm not making a promise that you will receive those types of benefits. A lot of people don't think that Medicaid is just for doctor visits or what have you, but it's for a plethora of things. And I just want to push out there that these resources are out there for you. And we share this bit of advice from our marriage counselor because maybe you're having issues with communicating and being triggered by a loved one. You know, maybe you guys should try to write a letter instead of getting in the heat of the moment, instead of forcing a solution that you don't even have ready. Try writing a letter. As soon as you get in the heat of the moment, stop and say, hey, I don't think we're fit or we have the capacity to, have this conversation right now. Can you give me time and let me write my thoughts out? I received the letter from Brandon. It was wonderful. He was nervous weren't you nervous about me reading it? You were like, what is she going to think? Oh my God, it was so beautiful. I'm looking at him like, oh, I thought it was going to be bad. Like I thought you were going to be dogging me out. It was so beautiful. It brought me a little bit closer to him. And I'm just so thankful for the letter. I'm thankful for my marriage counselor. I'm thankful for my husband, and I'm thankful for you guys for tuning in. And hopefully, you take heed to our advice.
I wasn't a believer when I was, I would say, 17, 16. I took anger management, and I don't think that worked at all. My experience with a therapist, counselor, whatever you want to call it, initially, there was no outcome of anything whatsoever. So this go round, as an adult, as a totally different person in general, it was a completely different experience. And now I can be the person I am today and say that it does work and it is something that you should at least try.
I'm so excited. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm going to let you do the outro.
If you made it this far in the video, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit that bell on the side of the subscribe button so you can get notifications next time we drop.
Peace.